Longer term trend line here held perfectly last week as we expected it would, and we did sell off, although we did sell off a lot further than expected on Friday with comments from Draghi about more stimulus. So the question is now, can we hold on to the November low down here at, let me see what this price is again, remind myself, taking a while to come up. 123.5 area, 123.57 is that low. So if we can hold there, and we did actually manage that on Friday, then we have got a little double bottom pattern. I don't think it's enough to be a trend changing situation, but it could at least trigger a recovery in the first half of this week, because we have become very oversold in the short term. That is about as good as it's going to get for bulls. You've got a couple of upside targets on today's report, so you can refer to those. Obviously, a break below the 123.5 area this week would be negative, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that perhaps in the second half of the cable. Can't really say an awful lot. Last week we just went sideways. We've got a small double bottom here, which is just giving us some support. 155.88, 155.91. So there's a small double bottom here. This candle's fairly positive that we saw last week. At least we're stabilizing as we become very oversold. Don't think we're going to get any sort of dramatic rally up, but at the moment looks more positive than negative at least. So yes, we are hopefully going to see a recovery. We've got targets on the day's report, so there's no point in me repeating them here. Stick with a little bit more of a positive outlook for the start of the week. Obviously that will change if we break below this double bottom low in the 155.88 area. Aussie dollar is slightly more confusing. It's certainly stabilized in November, and if we can hold above 86.80, that looks quite good for this week, because we've got this trend line around that area, and of course we've got the Fibonacci support there. So if we can get through, if we can hold above there, that does look more positive, and it does look like we could start to build a recovery. We've got a fairly positive looking stochastic situation with a bit of divergence. So I'm more positive than negative on this one, as long as we can hold above 86.70 at least, and getting above 86.80 of course looks good. We've got targets on the report, so I don't need to add to anything there. That's going to be the decider, the 86.70, 86.80 level. Generally feeling a little bit more negative on the dollar as we start this week, on a correction basis at least. Same for the dollar yen. Dollar looks like it could come under a little bit of pressure. We've seen some good runs up, but we're just so ridiculously overbought now, and Friday's candle not particularly positive. As I say, only really looking for a small correction to the dollar bull trend at the moment. Nothing more negative than that at this stage, unless we see something to change that. But therefore any dips are a buying opportunity. You've got some support levels on all of today's reports looking that we can look for a bounce from, but that's the general view, that the dollar could come under a little pressure this week.